Education. If you would take a moment to silence your cell phones, rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Diagana, will you please sprint across the room and take roll?
Monica Johnson. Here. Amanda Proctor.
Here.
Nate Fasano.
Here.
Amy Musgrave is excused. Michael Whale.
Here. We need to approve an agenda for this evening's meeting. Do we have any changes or amendments or amendments to it?
I'll move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, second Dr. Proctor, to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We do have an agenda. Do we have any citizen comments on agenda items?
No, not for the agenda.
Okay. We'll move to staff and student celebrations and recognition. Superintendent Nielsen.
President Wills, board members, once again, we sit here tonight in I'll call it our Western boardroom here at Roosevelt High School. I feel like we've been here a lot this year. Part of the reason we've been here a lot this year is we've had a lot to celebrate. I'll start tonight by, I want to honor, I think in the packet D, that MES has had a chance to hire a new assistant principal. And I'm excited to let the board know and publicly just welcome Sarah Wassinger to the admin staff at Milliken Elementary School. She's been a fixture teaching math and doing a great job at Milliken School. And for me, it's always exciting when you see your own grow and look at taking what's next in whatever their journey is. And so I'm excited for her to join that team and bring the expertise she's learned in her career to that elementary staff. So I'll start there. I also want to just make sure that we recognize that spring sports is running fast right here. We're walking in tonight and realizing that it must have been a girls' soccer game because the weather wasn't super great. Paul had a pretty exciting game yesterday, and we've got a big track and field meet here on Friday and another one a week from Saturday, which as we think about the track meet a week from Saturday is our first Randall Hess Invitational at Randall Hess Stadium. That's pretty exciting. But I also just publicly recognize that we'll also be naming the concourse out there for John Bruce, who, when you look at the legacy John Bruce has and the time he put into Roosevelt High School as a principal, but then also sitting in your seats for 2 terms, I think he was leading in this district for a whole career, which is just from principal to board seat. So we'll have a recognition for him in the ceremony that afternoon. So I think there's just big things going on. And also the girls golf going on currently right now. And so as you start to think about where we are in the spring season, we're not too far from spring season being over. We're only about 5 weeks from graduation, I think, is or something like that. So it's moving very quickly. Tonight, though, we really want to spend some energy talking about future business leaders and the work that they have done, both at the middle school level and high school level in this district. FBLA is something I was passionate about in my previous district. One of the things that's really cool here is the energy that is built throughout. And so to see a middle school program, I was a middle school principal, never had FBLA exist at my middle school. And so when I got here to see this last year and watch the pathway or the build-up that happens in this district, it's pretty neat. So tonight I want to start by honoring, I'm going to say Coach Hundley, and let Nick Nunley come up and tell us a little bit about the team you had this year, the number of students you have going to national, so I think we can talk a little bit about that. But then I also want to recognize all of the students that went to state. And once you're done talking about the fantastic team you have, we'd love to have all of them come up individually, talk about who they are, what their events were, and what place they took at the state tournament. And then the board would love to recognize them as they do that. So, Nick, if you'd start by talking a little bit about your team, and then we'll bring the board out and your.
Thank you, everyone. FBLA at the middle school level, the organization, a lot of our high school FBLA members started there. This year we had 14 members in the FBLA. We took all 14 to state. At middle school, there are no districts, so we just go straight to state. But we took 14 to state. Out of those 14, we have 8 that are going to nationals, 10 that were eligible to go to nationals. And I'll let them tell you individually, but we had, they got 14 students. We had 21 events, and they placed in the top 10, and I believe 16 out of those 21 events, and several top 3 finishes.
Let's get it out here so they can recognize. Which one of our leaders is going to lead?
Sure.
Just makes it for it.
My name is Bryson. I'm in 8th grade. I qualified I qualified on a test on business etiquette, third place.
I'm Peyton Walker. I qualified for nationals by placing 5th in my test of financial aid.
My name is Alyssa Booker. I competed in 2 testing events in business etiquette, career exploration, and I placed first in both.
My name is Vivian Scott. I placed second in both my career research presentation and leadership, and I'm going to nationals for my career research presentation.
My name is Holly Bryson, and I qualified for nationals with my partner Evan for community service.
My name is Olivia Wilson, and I'm partner with her in a community service, and we play second.
I'm Peyton Armstrong, and I placed second in first movie.
My name is Jordan Cruz. I was placed second in the LVP, so I was great at middle and I'm
Congrats to you too. Should we get a seat? Should we get a table set up for Tony? Because he seems to be here just as often as we are.
We like celebrating, giving us stuff to celebrate. That's pretty cool. So, thanks, man. Our second group would be our high school FBLA members. And we'd love to have Sabrina come up and talk a little bit about her team. And I know we'd love for you to start. I've got a couple, I'm going to say elected officials to celebrate as well.
Yes. Hi, I'm Renee Peterson, and I'm proud to be here tonight to celebrate our students. We took 42 to state. Of those 42, 24 placed in the top 10. A couple of them placed a couple of times. And we have, so far, we have 9 qualified to go to nationals. We don't find out until Friday how many of them bump up. We have rolled out we're 5th place, the top 4. So we could have 3 or more bump up depending. Your nationals are in Orlando in June to July. And we're expecting more students from around the Colorado to want to go, whereas last year they let others bump. So yes, we're very, very proud of them. And we would like to ask permission to go to nationals officially. We will be discussing the budget later. So, and then I need to introduce our 2 special elected officials. This is the highest honors, aside from being a national officer for FBLA, is to be a state officer. So first I'll introduce Annabelle Rusco. She is our VP, our new state VP of Education. And I'll let them share what they went through to obtain a state office. And then Yay Lynn was a state officer this year, and she's returning next year as our state president. It's a huge honor. So, do you want to share real quick?
She loves it when I call it out. Well, it's definitely been an amazing year, not only, being a member of this chapter, but also being able to see how everything's run kind of from, the background and see how amazing it is to be with all of the members. I've gotten to work with the state officer team and planning the district conference and planning a lot of other conferences, working with people, working on a program of work, and a lot of other fun stuff. I'm excited that Annabelle gets to join me next year and that we get to represent Roosevelt having 2 state officer teams. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, and so I'll take it over. Like I said, my name is Annabelle Rusco, and I'll be this year's 2020 or 2025 VP of Education. So I started FBLA off in middle school, like many of these people here, and it's been super cool connecting and kind of working my way up to the off role I knew I wanted. I'm super excited to see what changes I can make to our programs and how we can improve that member experience. And then I'd say my favorite part of state was definitely networking. I had a bag of resin ducks. So if you see anyone with ducks from FBLA, that was when we were going around giving out lucky ducks. And I want to introduce all of our people who went to state. Similar to middle school, our state is more similar to their qualifying for nationals. It has become super competitive. We had over 3,800 people at the SLC this year. So I'd love to have them come up and talk about what they did and they qualified in.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I'll kick it off with the events. I placed as the state champion in Introduction to FBLA this year, so I will be competing with that at National, and I'm incredibly excited for that.
I competed in business management and I got top 10.
My name is Megan Chambers, and I competed in the Introduction to FBLA, and I got 2nd.
My name is Caitlin Burns, and I placed 11th in Accounting 2. I'm Peter Hollywood. I placed 3rd in the FBLA.
I'm Julia Pham, and I went for state for journalism. I don't know what I placed.
Okay, I went for Introduction to Financial Math, and I got 4th. I'm Asha Chisano. I went for Business Ethics, and I placed top 10.
I'm Melanie Cano, and I placed 1st in Future Business Educator.
I did computer game simulation programming with these 2, and we got 1st place.
Yeah,
officials assigned, and we placed 5th place at state and possibly bump up to nationals.
Let's give that group a big hand. I think when you think about our school, this school, taking 42 students to the tournament, that's a big deal, right? When you look at big districts around the state that don't take 42 individuals to the state tournament, and then for us to have the president and the vice president of education both at one school, that's a pretty big honor for Rosa. But I also think it speaks to the pipeline, right? As you heard them talk about, it doesn't start here. It's a culmination, right? It's a journey that people can take for more than just 2, 3, or 4 years, but they can do more than that. I also just want to honor the educators. We have a bunch in the room. This district provides a wonderful experience during the day, but the amount of opportunities for students that happen outside the school day, I talked a little bit about the sports that are going on. I happen to have a strong passion for academic competitions because there's lots of students. When I grew up, if you wanted to compete, you only competed in athletics. If you want to compete now, you've got a chance to compete athletically or academically, and that's pretty cool. Get some of the same butterflies, same opportunity to get nervous and go in competition. FBLA is sort of like a track meet for business leaders, right? So it's pretty cool. So I want to thank our teachers here, our educators, for providing those experiences, and FBLA is just one example. This district provides a whole bunch, and it really is powerful to allow students to expand, maybe find a passion, both inside the school day but outside the school day. Parents, thanks for coming to be here too. Again, let's give all of our FBLA participants a big hand tonight. President Wills, that concludes my celebrations for this evening.
All right, thank you. That was awesome. It's good times. Yeah, what are you doing, man? Standing there? I kid. Anybody, do we have any other celebrations that we have not discussed? There's nothing on in the building tonight?
National Honor Society.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, do you want to come to, do you want to just come forward and talk about that real quick?
Sure. Is Mr. Gronkowski still in view?
He's there 2 seconds ago. He's in the office.
Because then I can pass it on, I can put him on the spot.
Delegation.
Yeah, so we the National Honor Society. Hi, I'm Mr. Bryson, principal here for all our school parents who might not know me. Hi, congratulations. All you guys. Look forward to seeing you. So we the National Honor Society induction ceremony. So that is students who are nominated and exemplify the 4 pillars that are involved with NHS. So it's a really wonderful ceremony where the current NHS members kind of honor and present the new NHS members for induction. And there's a kind of a wonderful candle ceremony and that kind of piece that's meaningful. So that was great. And again, another thing that Scott was talking about, of just kind of the academic, but also the character and the service being honored with building. And of course, those are some of the best and the brightest who many of them are doing double duty. They just went from there and now they're here. So that was a great opportunity to do that. And, so yeah, it was just a wonderful night.
How many do you remember got inducted?
14.
14, okay.
I count.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Benson. One more thing I'd like to call out was it happened here Thursday, Friday, Saturday last week was our musical. We had a spring musical that happened here. Charlie Brown. Students did awesome. I mean, it was an awesome presentation. And one of the things that I appreciated was how there was some role sharing, right? So they figured out how to have different people experience roles, which you don't always see at a high school. So kudos to that program for having a great use of our space in there, in addition to what happened in Honor Society. So one that I would also like to call out.
Yeah, heard a lot of rave reviews about the Charlie Brown show. So. Anything else? All right. If our crowd would like to not stay for the boring part of the meeting,
Some we have to for the field trip.
right. But those who don't, if you want, this would probably be a good time to quietly make your door. We will move on to reports and comments from board members.
I'll start if you guys don't mind. Should we wait a second?
For goodness sakes.
Moving quietly in the space.
I know.
Nationals if you sit on the front row. Winner's row.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'll start if you guys don't mind, because mine will be a quick. I haven't done much school board business in the last 2 weeks, but I did attend the play, which is really cool to see. Not only, it wasn't just a play, it was a musical. So we had students performing and students performing music at the same time. It was very cool to see that space being used the way we intended. It just worked really well. So excited about that. I did attend the NHS induction because my daughter was one of the ones inducted. It's just really cool to see that you talked about it already, so you couldn't listen, but we do a really good job celebrating athletes and athletics. And we are starting to be able to do a really good job celebrating academics. So that's exciting. The other thing is the CTA advisory board I want to talk about just for a second, to see the opportunities that our students are getting through that CTA work is really, really exciting. There's a lot of opportunities happening that we heard about just, a couple hours ago. So exciting work happening for them, and thank Ms. Boris and Ms. Volrath, who's Ms. Albert, I guess, doing that work for them. So anyway, that's it for me.
All right.
Oh, we're going out of order. Okay, I'll go out of order. I talked about a little bit about this at our last board meeting, but a lot of times my professional job crosses over with school board or school district business. And so this month we're celebrating student art at the public library. And so definitely such a fun celebration of our elementary students. We have representation from all of our schools in the district with the exception of Civica. And the library is a beautiful place to be. So we've had a lot of school district parents come in with their students along with parents' extended family to show off their artwork. So that's going to be on display for the entire month. So it's such a great way to honor our artists in the elementary level. And their artwork is so good. I look at what they do and I don't think I ever could do what these children do at any level of my life. They're so good. And to be able to have those opportunities and to see the facilities that the school district provides to enhance the art program is just such a blessing for our school district. The other thing that crossed over too in my professional life is we're also get to host a literacy night this coming next week with Pioneer Ridge Elementary. And what a great opportunity for students in the district to come to the library to get engaged in the love of literacy, to bring their families in, and to be able to see what the community has to offer their families, and to prepare also for hopefully a good summer of high literacy and a lot of reading. So those are really wonderful things that we get to personally and also school district wide. So
Nothing about ladder training?
About what?
The ladder training?
Oh, the ladder training. Talk to me after the board meeting for ladder training information.
I haven't been able to actually get much school board business done with my personal life, but there was one interesting thing I saw today, and it's more of a comment than a report, is that Johnstown looks like they're looking for a new police chief, and they're having a meet and greet, and was curious if you would have any district administration go to the meet and greet, because I do think it's important to have a good relationship with the chief or who's going to be the chief, because we have SROs, we care about school safety, so I just wanted to check in and see if we have anybody either actively participating in that process or who's going to go to it.
There's been little talk. We haven't landed on it. I think doing some work with the town around it. So I think stay tuned.
Thank you.
I don't have a whole lot. One thing, and I forgot to mention this last meeting, and I'm glad that I just received another one because I want to mention it now. So we all get the emails every week in the schools, what's happening at Roosevelt, what's happening at MES, what's happening at MMS, what's happening at Elwell, what's happening at Bridge. But we also have a really good one that goes out from Ms. Miller, and what's going on in special ed, that goes out to our special ed families. And it's very comprehensive, full of a lot of good information. And she's really taking her strides to our special ed families informed about things that are happening in the school district, so they're not always relying on what's coming directly from the buildings themselves. So they get that extra little bit of attention. So I wanted to recognize the work that she's doing with that. Tomorrow night we have BOCES meeting. I'll be there for that. And then obviously legislative, Colorado legislative, that's all starting to wrap up right now. I'm on legislative review, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that is going to go to the governor's desk, and that's just the nature of having one party in control of the entire legislature. Is that basically anything that gets brought in is going through the door to the governor's desk. So we may find ourselves having a busy summer fall doing policy review work. But I'll try to keep us up to speed. I've talked to Scott a little bit about some of the big issues that are coming so that we can kind of start thinking about, and in typical fashion of state government, they'll say, this is what you have to do in a broad sense. Now we just want you to work out all the details. So be prepared for a lot of detail work. Hopefully not a lot, but it could be coming. So I think that is for me. As Scott mentioned, we will be doing a ceremony starting at 2:30 next Saturday here at the stadium for John Bruce. So if you can attend that, please do. I think I sent you guys, I sent a lot of invites out today, so I think you guys all got it. So that is all I have. Anything else that we overlooked or? Let's move on to the report from the superintendent's office.
I have a couple things tonight. One, I just want to say the last couple weeks it's been interesting, busy. I spent a couple days really getting to know Michael well as we went back and forth to Fort Morgan a couple times, and I learned a ton about budget, both from the leaders but also Michael, because he's brilliant around school budget. So it was a great couple days. We've had 2 negotiation sessions since our last board meeting, and so that process continues to be progressing. And I think one of the things that has been interesting for me is that's an opportunity to build some trust as we move process, but have some real talk. So it's given an opportunity for us to do some of both. Tonight, though, I really want to focus on one school in particular, and I want to focus tonight on MES for a couple of reasons. One, you're aware that we're looking at making another change for MES in a year and a half, splitting that building in 2 and having our 3rd through 5th graders go to the middle school and make some changes. And Assistant Superintendent Kramer and I last week had our first opportunity to meet with the group that's volunteered, the teachers from that building that have volunteered to be part of the brain trust, if you will, around thinking about what are hurdles we have to overcome in the process. And it was a great opportunity to hear from them, and we'll continue that process as we move through the spring. That's one. The second one, I think you're all aware, is that as we move through the spring, we're working to engage with staff members that want to talk with the superintendent. And I've had a chance since our last meeting to meet with the staff at MES. And for me, it's somewhat intentional around how I'm going to ask questions. It has to do with celebrations around mostly district celebrations, right? The idea of these is to hear from our teachers how to celebrate things that go on in district. Your typical celebrations are still going to be building level because that's what they want to celebrate. What are some things we could do better? What are some things we could stop doing? And then a question around how can I support, how can I from this level? And that was well received. It was a great opportunity for conversation. I learned a lot from our staff at MES, so I just wanted to let you know that. And then the meat of what I wanted to talk a little bit about, I think in the fall, we had a presentation from the administration at MES because they were put on a plan around making some progress academically. And they engaged in a process around teaming that Jen talked about with you. And the idea around that is for teachers to be able to see their impact. And so I'm going to throw some numbers in tonight. I want you to, I'll give you a test on the backside. But this is just think about work teachers are doing to identify what a standard at the level is asking, creating a task that is rigorous enough to get at what the standard is asking, and then measuring students. And they're doing it in the process. They do it at the beginning, and then they do some work, and then they test again at the end, so they can see the movement of students. And I just want to call out 3 different grade levels tonight. Kindergarten, in one of their assessments, they started with 3 of 58 students that were proficient, 14 that were below proficient, and only 1 that was advanced. And when they culminated, they had the same number that were below proficient, so they didn't move off proficient yet. They moved, of the 43 individuals that were proficient, 42 of them ended up advanced. So they were able to move a lot of students from one to the other. First grade math, similar. They started with 62 individuals. They started with 28 that were below proficient. They ended with 15 that were below proficient. They started with 13 that were advanced and ended with 30 that were advanced. That's powerful impact that teachers see. And the last one I just want to celebrate is the 5th grade, a reading standard in 5th grade. They had 60 students testing. To start with, they had 39 of the 60 that were below proficient. When they ended 10, they had 12 that were, if you think about below proficient, the way they categorize it, they have progressing, and then before progressing is beginning. They had 12 people that were beginning. That's like, I can't even access the assessment. They had 3 at the end. So they went from 12 to 3. But they had 0 advanced at the beginning, and they had 16 that were advanced. That's big impact, and I think I wanted to take some time to call out. But there's a couple reasons I think teachers who can see this are like coaches that see their athletes improve day by day by day. That's the power of what they're doing. They're actually keeping a little scoreboard about how they're progressing, and they can see this, and they talk about it now. If you talk to them, they'll be able to analyze and share this impact. And it's exciting for me when we think about what Jen talked about, and that we're starting to see this, that will influence the whole district for years to come. And they're excited about it. I also just want to say, when we started this work, or when Jen agreed to dig in, we were looking at a team or 2 to do this work this year. Right now, we've got preschool that hasn't done it, and 3rd grade that hasn't done it. Everyone else over there has already been through at least 1 cycle, several of them multiple, and they're asking for it. And they shared, when I told them I was going to share this, they said, we want the board to know we're hungry to be a part of this process. That's really pretty neat, and attest to what that staff is doing over there. So I just wanted to share that as my report tonight. And President, that culminates what I had to say.
Questions?
I don't have any questions. I'm going to tell that story in the community. I don't know how. I mean, I'm not the marketing person, but create some infographics, some Facebook shareable stuff to get out there and tell that story about the work that's being, especially at that school. And then, of course, I know this is on the plan, but replicate it at other schools. I think that's exciting.
Well, funny, you should mention that about the marketing. Probably can't talk about that yet, can you?
There might be something in the works.
Stay tuned.
There might be something in the works.
Yeah, you did.
You're out of the loop right now.
I mean, no.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate that staff and the administration, the leadership in that building. That it brings tears to my eyes. It's that phenomenal to see such a huge amount of change in such a short amount of time. It was the dedication and the perseverance. So I'm just so proud of the work they're doing.
If you ask that staff, and you could do this across the district because I think it's true, but we just got done testing, or we're really close. And the staff at MES talking about testing this year versus last, and the amount of time kids have invested in the test, which doesn't always translate to different outcomes, but generally will. And without question, every staff member I talked over there talked about how much more energy the students put into the process of testing, or the process of showing us where they are. So that's pretty cool. And the likelihood that we'll see change, I would say, is pretty good.
Yeah, I just echo what has been said. I think we really need to hold that staff up, and probably a bigger celebration than what we're doing here. Just because I think back to when Alan and Dr. Krill came before the board, and I think there was a lot of, they were nervous, they were upset, and to take that, a lot, and in a lot of schools they wouldn't take that and do anything with it. They would just become the crutch. That would become the excuse, and they've taken that and really done something spectacular. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear more and how we can celebrate that with them. So, any other questions? All right. Moving to the CFO's report. Mr. Everest, are you out there?
Everybody on the table. Good evening, President Fields, members of the Board of Education, and Superintendent Neal. Tonight I'd just like to give a brief update on the financial status of the district. If we go to the second slide. Basically, in the slide deck, really the only thing I'd like to highlight more is the first bullet item under the general fund observations, where the district received just over 116% of its budgeted monthly revenue. For the month of March, that is from district finally starting to receive its local property taxes. So now we will, in April, there's just in the cash flows from the property taxes, there's going to be kind of dip, so it's not going to be that well. But looking into May and June, hopefully there's going to be some very impressive numbers coming in. So that's really the only thing I wanted to highlight in the report. This concludes my presentation, and I can answer questions before they have.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll move on to consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Director Johnson, a second by Director Proctor. Any discussion? The only thing I would say, and I know we'll do some retirement celebrations at the end of the year. You know, if you read, Mr. Kratz is retiring after 29 years in this school district, so that's a pretty awesome feat. All right, other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. We will move on to our special business. First item is the Milliken Middle School out-of-state trip request. Superintendent Nielsen.
President Wales and board members, we have our coach back again, the one we're going to get a table for. He's here to ask permission to take his team to Florida. That's a tough trip in late June, July, I think, right? So, Coach, you want to come up and make your pitch?
Absolutely. Superintendent Nielsen, President Wales, members of the board, thank you for having us. So with our members that were up here that qualified for nationals, our trip is June 20, or the national event, I believe, is June 29th through July 2nd. Because of dates, we would have to fly out on the 28th and fly back on the 3rd to avoid just a nightmare of logistics. But I've provided with you, I believe, in your agenda, a spreadsheet that has a list of our expenses and possible funding, as well as a relatively detailed letter that has all of our itinerary and our plans for that week, so that you know what I'm doing with a bunch of middle schoolers when I take them out of town to Orlando for 5 days. But we're asking first for permission to take the children out of town to Orlando, but also asking hopefully for some financial support. In the past, the board has graciously paid for our chaperones to attend. That would be a cost of $18.15 per chaperone. The chaperone would be myself and Ms. Borson. By district policy, we can squeeze by with one chaperone by numbers, but we have males and females, so definitely have to have 2 chaperones for that. So that would be a total expense of $36.20. The additional cost to take the students is in the neighborhood of $12,000. There's a more exact number or sheet. We would also be requesting $3,200 in board support to help cover any expenses that we cannot fundraise for, to lessen any expense to the families to take these children to the national event. Open to questions.
What are you doing to fundraise for the kids right now?
They've got a calendar fundraiser, so if they fill that out themselves, that's about $500 per kid that they'll fundraise. I've already got Breeze Through Car Wash to match some donations for us. So 25th, I'll be picking up a check for Breeze Through Car Wash by Shields for $1,000. Through their calendar donations, they raised enough that they would match the full matching instead. We've also done, we also did a Mary's Mountain cookie dough fundraiser, and another local business that we were able to partner with to make some money. I think as a club, we made the neighborhood of $300-400 there. We do a hat day, kind of in-building fundraiser that makes us about $20 a week, but that's kind of general monthly expenses for FBLA. We are looking into some other pizza nights, as Peterson mentioned earlier. Some of those things are more challenging than they used to be. I know some of those that we did last year, you know, a lot of effort for maybe not the reward we were looking for. So those are the things we are currently working on, but we'll also be seeing local businesses, talking to businesses in the community, seeing if they will support us as well, looking for donations through that route, as well as trying to find some more productive ways to put these kids to work to earn their money rather than just asking for it.
Thank you.
The only thing worse than going to Orlando in June or July is going to Orlando in August. Are you sure you want to go to Orlando end of June, early
My
July?
mom's whole family's from Orlando. I've been thinking about walking around in Orlando in a suit in the summertime for a while, and I'm not happy about it.
It seems like, I mean, it always seems like FBLA picks really bad places for their national competitions.
They have a hot and humid index for putting people in suits and having to walk around town.
Builds character.
So you said the number was $3,200? Because there's a different number I see in here. Is that?
Yes, I tried to update it and it did not update on there. When I filled out the spreadsheet originally, it showed our total fall. After Ms. Sanders and I discussed what we should ask the board for, we came up with a solid number of requesting 3,200. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Everest, we have monies, right?
In the budget, here the board does have, originally it's budgeted 20,000 for athletic, athletic like state, trips, and then, 20,000 for, co-curricular.
If it's in the budget, then I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great opportunity for the students to go and experience it and to further their skills that they've already learned here at a district and state level. So if the budget is there, I think it's a very positive experience.
Ready for a motion?
Hey, he is. I thought that was coming.
Thought that was coming. Thought I'd leave you hanging just a little bit.
Lacing us up for that.
I'm going to move that we approve the funding request from the Milliken Middle School FBLA in the amount of $3,200.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Proctor. To approve the out-of-state trip? Did you?
I'm going to amend my motion to also include
Okay.
approving the out-of-state trip.
And second?
Second.
Okay. To approve the out-of-state trip and provide the funding for MMS's FBLA team to attend nationals. Any discussion?
We just want pictures of everyone in the humidity. Photo evidence.
That's you. I'm bad about not taking photos. I'm horrible about not taking photos.
All right, Ms. Diagano, would you please pull the board?
Mike Johnson.
Yes.
Amanda Proctor.
Yes.
Nate Sassano.
Yes.
Michael Whale.
Yes. All right, thank you, sir. Good luck. Move on. Next item of special business is the Roosevelt High School out-of-state trip request.
All right, President Wales and board members, we ask Coach Peterson to think about her trip. It's a little different because, as she talked about up here, we don't yet know exactly how many people are going. And so what we want to do tonight is ask for permission to go and ultimately then encourage FBLA to come back to us in May and talk about their trip. And if there's a request for dollars at that point, let you entertain that at our first meeting in May. Go ahead, come on up, sweetie.
Superintendent, President Wales, and members of the board, thanks again for having me. We're in an interesting situation this year. I have a 10-day window to register us and plan our trip this year. So I won't know until Friday night how many will be going, and I'll be spending my weekend planning FBLA and going to prom. And so at that time, I'll know how many that we have so I can actually get exact numbers. And we're still on our fundraising, obviously, but I have to have us registered and finished by April. Some of the due dates are April 30th and some are May 1st. So I am not quite sure how the ask will happen, and it's unfortunate, I apologize, but it's kind of out of my hands.
I think what we'd love to see, I guess, tonight is to approve you going.
Okay.
And then if there's a monetary ask to come back to the board at that first meeting in May, I think it would be cool to have you come back anyways and talk about how the trip looks like it's going to happen. But I'd love to give the board a chance tonight to say, you can go,
Okay.
right? So you know when it's on the.
Well, my question is, if I already have to pay for all the kids to go before we ask, how will that work with knowing how much to ask the parents for?
That was my concern too. I'm wondering, and I don't know if we can do this, but so I went back and looked at last year's request, and it was a little less than $400 per student. So I'm wondering if we could just make a motion tonight to approve that amount, not knowing exactly what that amount will be until Friday. So that
Is that just registration?
that was the total ask last year. I don't know I don't remember
So like
exactly what that included.
up to $4 per student or something?
Yeah, I
Kind
don't
of like
want
that.
us to get in a position where we don't have funds to register kids who might be able to go. So I don't know. I think Mr. Everest is biting his lip over there. I don't know if we can do that or not, but I'm wondering if we can, just so we don't miss any deadlines.
If I may, what I would recommend, I would recommend just going ahead and just, if the board approves, to just do the registration cost, because that's kind of the immediate thing that you would need right now. And then just have, when you come back for the funding request, just, have that be a part of the funding request. Because I mean, the registration cost, I mean, there's a portion of it, but there's additional things, that you guys will be doing. So you can kind of tailor the budget, kind of based off of that. I mean, you have to have the registration costs, so.
The other question I would ask about what we just did for the middle school is we know there's gonna be chaperones going.
Correct.
So that would be the other thing that we could say we'll cover for sure, right, as the district takes care of the chaperones that are gonna go. So then that at least would be budget that Sabrina would know she's got.
We have a mechanism for spending the funds. So she's gonna have to spend the funds before we approve the funds. We have a mechanism to do that.
Yeah, all of the spending for this trip will come out of their student activity fund. And then if the board approves additional funding, then I will transfer that into their student activity fund. So all of the spending will be within their student activity account.
Sabrina, so maybe you've already answered this. Is this at the same time as the middle
Yes,
school?
we'll be together.
Okay.
So it's wonderful because Jennifer Borison, Nick Nunley, and then Chad Walker is considering coming this time, and myself. So we kind of tag team the chaperoning. It's been a real blessing. Yeah. My first priority is to get plane tickets.
Yes.
Before they bump. So I know that Nick's getting ready to buy his. So as soon as I have a go and I have numbers, I'm buying tickets. So
What number do you expect right now?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just looked at his budget. I
Well,
stressed myself out the last 2 years by watching tickets and watching them get higher and higher and higher.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask the question. Well, number of students, how many are you expecting?
Currently, we have 9, which is the same as the middle school. It's possible we could have more.
So you had a few.
They're right on the cusp.
5th place, right?
Yes,
State, and then
3 5th place, and then we have a bunch of 7th place. And last year we had some 7th place bump.
How do they bump up?
So if the students ahead of them are unable to attend, Colorado likes to fill those slots, so that way we have Colorado represented as much as possible. And we actually had some situations, Nate's daughter actually, she placed lesser at districts. No, that wasn't you. No, I had a different student who placed, she didn't place at all at districts, and she bumped up to state, and she made it on the stage at state. So they still have time to work on their things and study and prepare. So just because they didn't do so well at first doesn't mean they won't have a showing once they get there.
Right.
They do a fabulous job.
Okay. Any other questions? So just so we're clear, but what we're doing tonight is all we are doing is approving the overnight trip.
And the 2 chaperones. Right, paying for the 2 chaperones?
Well, that was a question. I don't know.
Oh, okay,
Because
sorry.
we don't have any numbers on that, so we can't. So we do have a recommended motion here, so that is an accurate course of action for us to take. And then in our first May meeting, that's when we'll get the final number, make everything official. But
All right, I will go ahead and move to approve the out-of-state trip requests for RHS FBLA students to attend nationals in Orlando. I don't know why, but from June 29th to July 2nd.
I'll second.
And it'll also be the 28th through the 3rd.
We have a motion by Vice President Sassano, second by Director Johnson to approve the overnight trip request for Roosevelt High School BLA to attend nationals. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Diagana.
Ronald Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Kate Sama,
Yes.
Michael Wales.
Yes. All right, we'll see you in May.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Dedicated
And thank you for
weekend to-
squeezing us in today, this year. This is just been
Yeah.
different.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for working so hard this weekend to make it work.
All right, our next item is some asset disposal. Mr. JJ,
Hello,
main event.
I don't have papers, I have my phone.
We've got
Just 'cause I didn't
got
want-
papers.
Good evening, Superintendent Webb, or, Superintendent Nielsen.
Please no, God no.
It's that time of year, I got junk in my lot, and, it's time to get rid of them. I have 3 vehicles currently now that are doing us no good. I can't get 2 of them to pass the CD inspections. One because one was our billboard for 4 years and it hasn't passed for 4 years. Another one because it's a rust bucket and it's way too money to put into it. Another one because I can't get the parts for it. It's too old. It's our old wheelchair bus. I have currently placed an order with Colorado to replace that one. So the moment we get it sold, we already have one as a backup. The models in question is a 99 Bluebird, a 2004 International, and a 2004 Collins, which is a little bus. We also have some hubs when we buy the little bus. They come with hubcaps, but we can't use them. They're not allowed. So in the past, we've sold, I think, 3 sets. Just put them on gov deals. Somebody wants to buy them. So I'm asking for you guys to give us a permission to get them out of my lot. Or I'll track it. Depends on where you're looking.
Okay. Any questions other than the hubcap? Like, why the CDE not all hubcaps? Are they prone
They
to?
require we paint our wheels black too. I don't know. Some states have silver. It's just a CD recommendation. You're not allowed to have blue bumpers. California can have blue bumpers for electric ones. So it's just, it's something that maybe because they fall off, potential hazard, I don't know. But they come, we never put them on it. They're in a bag when we get them. And I guess because it's the price of the bus, you get it, but you get to do with it what you want. So
Interesting.
they're always in the bus when we pick them up.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the asset disposals as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Director Proctor, a second by Director Johnson to approve the asset disposal as presented. Any discussion? All's in favor, say, or I'm sorry, I'm going to take, yeah, I know. I'm tired.
Let me do it.
Misty, I got.
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Nate Sassano,
yes.
Michael Wales.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, JJ.
Jay.
I know Michael Everest doesn't get an applause. What's like? We'll move on to our next item of business, which is our new business, our custodial services discussion.
President Wales, board members, I think tonight was our third opportunity in a work session to talk about opportunities for us as we look forward with facilities, custodial both. I think we've had a chance to talk about some of the, I'll say, opportunities we have to improve what's going on in our buildings, but also to enhance some what our custodial staff is able to accomplish while they're at our buildings. We had a chance to talk this evening about timeline and I think answer all the questions you have. So this evening, we're asking that that we make a decision on what direction we're going to head for the foreseeable future with our, I'll say, facility/custodial department.
Okay. So as Superintendent Nielsen has said, we've had 3 exhaustive work sessions, a lot of questions submitted from the board, a lot of questions from staff, a lot of answers from staff, a lot of more questions from the board. We've kind of looked at this each way and way. Is there any other questions or discussion that you guys would like to have? Are we ready to make a decision?
The only thing I wanted to say is one of the benefits that I've seen for bringing the custodial back in-house from the beginning is really bringing them back into the fold of being a part of RE5J. Like not just being a contractor, but truly feeling a part of the team and feeling supported and having the same benefits as the people around them. And I feel like bringing that back to our community is really important. And I'm very glad we went down this road. It was a long road. I know I've asked a lot of questions, and I know it's been hard for staff to go through this process, but I do appreciate it.
I think it's exciting to bring staff members back in and treat staff members like staff members.
Yeah, I'm with you, Amanda. I think the one thing that's been missing from any time it's been not the district providing the service is pride in the school. They just show up for work. They don't, those staff members, they do an okay job, but they don't really care about how that building looks and feels. And they're not part of the community. And they will be now, assuming that we go forward with this decision. So I think you all know that I hear this daily from the staff member who lives in my house, and it's time to do something. So I'm excited that we're heading down this road. We've got to make some changes, and I think this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that the work sessions have been productive. We've asked a lot of questions. We've gotten a lot of great answers. So I think it's a move in the right direction to move forward with it.
Yes, if you want to, yes, I can read your mind. We have this.
Well, I have a question first. So the motion we're making tonight is really to provide direction to end the contract with ABM. That's the motion. Provide notice to ABM that we're ending the contract. Okay. Everybody, any other questions or discussion? All right, then I'm going to make the motion that we provide direction to the district staff to give ABM notice that we would like to terminate the contract for custodial services.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, second by Director Johnson, to direct staff to make the contract with ABM services and custodial services back into
I guess I did
World RE5J.
Yes, that too.
I would have to. Any other discussion? The one thing I'll add is what I stated in the work session is that, you know, with any change, we need to be realistic with the expectation of what we hope to see. This isn't going to be the silver bullet that saves and corrects all the things that are wrong and all the things that might be being overlooked. But what it does do is it gives us a little more control on how we solve those problems. So I would just say if once this goes into motion, to be able to offer a little bit of grace to Josh and his team, and understand and realize that this is going to be a kind of learning process for them, and set our expectations accordingly. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Diagana, I got.
Mike Johnson. Yes. Samantha Proctor.
Yes.
Yes.
Michael Witt.
Yes. Thank you again for all the hard work that has gone into this. It's a lot.
Yeah, thanks for the direction. I think we've got a team that's ready, and we're excited about what this means for our staff.
Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody outside of the community and just talking, kind of bouncing some thoughts and ideas off of this, and it was, the conversation was there's been a tremendous amount of energy. It doesn't seem like there would be, but there's been a tremendous amount of energy put into this, so we appreciate that work.
Yeah.
We'll move on to citizen comments on general topics.
We have Addison Bailey with us this evening.
Okay. Addison, you can pick the side you want, if you want to come this side or that side, but we'll need to get you in the, and if you could state your name for the record, and then we'll let you go.
Addison Bailey. I'm going to be talking about snow days and half day of school. I think that we could have had some snow days this year that we never had. And because there's a few days earlier in the school year that we really could have had some. The snow was really bad, and kids walk to school. They could walk to school in that snow, and because they don't have a ride. Even if they live just a few blocks away, it could be for them to walk to school in all that snow and stuff. Especially if we have our lockers, our giant snow coats can't fit in our locker because our lockers are smaller. So you would have to bring a lighter jacket. And I can do half days now. This year there's no half day school, which there could be because those snow days. And if we didn't have those snow days, then we can have those half days instead. Because next year on the last day of school, it's a half day. And there could have been one this year too. Because kids like half days. They like to just go to school for half the day and just go home and do whatever. And because kids just like half days, because you can do whatever at school and then just go home. And if kids don't go to school the last week of school because you just don't do any work or anything. So yeah, you just because you don't have a Chromebook, you don't have an iPad or whatever, so you just do anything. You just watch movies the whole week, and it's because teachers can't grade work and get those grades in before report cards go out and get all those grades in. So yeah. That's it.
Okay. So we don't typically do this, but I'd like to get a couple questions if you're okay with that. One is I do want to, before you leave tonight, I want to take an opportunity to introduce you to Superintendent Nielsen and our Assistant Superintendent Tammy Kramer, because they could talk to you a lot about snow days in particular. So one thing is the board we don't make any decisions when it comes to the snow days. We delegate that authority 100% to the superintendent. And basically 3 of the people sitting, actually the guy at the end of the table is the one who really makes that call. But they could talk to you about a lot of the reasons why we do call school days and why we don't. And some of them are like you talked about. We have students who may need to walk. We also have student food insecurity where we need to make sure that they're still getting to school so they can get that food because they get that food at home. But as far as the half days, the thing that interests me is, again, that's something that the board delegates to our staff. And it's a pretty good sized staff. Ms. Kramer works with that team. How many teachers are on the calendar committee?
Between 15 and 20.
Okay, yeah, so quite a big group that works on putting those calendars together. My question for you on this is, how do you think we should get input from students on the calendar? We probably can't get your input on snow days because, I know, what grade are you in? I know the seventh grade me would have said, yep, snow day, and it's 70 degrees outside, but we need the snow day. But as far as calendar, how do you think we could do a better job of getting student input on how that calendar is created and what days we're taking off?
Like, cause like last year, like the year before that, we had, cause KQA, it's like, there's like 1 to 2 days, like just off, like on a Friday or a Monday. It's a teacher work day and stuff like that, and it's like, teachers, like, on like teacher work days, get graded and stuff like that. So if there was like half days, they can still do that, but to get kids' opinions, maybe, because last year, we had a newspaper, kids would go interview kids about that stuff to get their input on. So this year we didn't do that for like an elective. It's like a good elective because you type the whole newspaper, go interview other kids about it, like younger kids, older kids, and stuff like that. So that's how they got kids.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming out. This is kind of a nerve-wracking thing to come and talk about these things, but we appreciate it, and you have a evening.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
All right, any other items deemed necessary by the board?
I had one question, and I forgot to ask it earlier, and I apologize. On the postcard, do we have a updated ETA?
Supposed to be in. It's out.
It's out. You received one? Oh, okay. I was my mail better. Thank you.
I'm a once a weeker, don't worry about it.
Okay. Me too. Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
I just want to tell Addison how much I appreciated her presentation. That takes a lot of bravery to come before the Board of Education. So I appreciate your effort on your slideshow that you provided with us and your courage to appear here tonight.
Okay. Anything else? It is 8:08. We'll adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Clap.
I just want you to know, you both talked about kids who were frustrated when they called snow class.